Welcome to K-12 education budget. We're going to go ahead and have an overview of House Bill 2382 with Nick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee, this bill is pretty short. So what the bill would do is it would require or would enact the School District Board of Education member Free Speech and Transparency Act. So what this act would do is it would require school districts to first publish the names and email addresses of board members on their school district websites, and it would require KSDE to maintain a composite list of those names and email addresses. It would make any records that are maintained, or kept by a member of a Board of Education on a private electronic device that concerns the business of the whole Board of Education. Those records would be subject to disclosure under the Kansas Open Records Act, and Section 2 of the bill makes that change as well within the Kansas Open Records Act. The bill would expressly authorize a member of a Board of Education to add discussion topics and items to the board's agenda at or prior to the beginning of a board's meeting. It would prohibit a school board from restricting or prohibiting another board member's questions or discussions with a person who is presenting public testimony to the board. It would require each school district board of education meeting to include a public comment portion. It would require the appropriate staff of a school district to fulfill any request for information that comes from a board member. And also it would require every board member to disclose any communications that were intended to be sent or were addressed to the entire board. So if somebody was to send an individual board member something that was addressed to the entire board or was intended to be addressed to the entire board, those communications would need to be disclosed under this bill. This bill would take effect upon publication in the statute book, which is July 1, 2023, and I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
All right, committee, what questions do you have? Representative Boyd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nick, are you aware of any other state statute that the state mandates another government entity to how the state dictates how that entity should run their business meetings?
Oh, I'd have to look. I mean, I'm not aware of any other board member transparency act like this, but certainly some of the proponents might be aware of something that another state has done or proposed on that line.
All right, if there are no other questions, thank you, Nick, and we'll go ahead and open the hearing on House Bill 2382. We have proponents and opponents today, and if your time, looks like we've got enough time for everybody to do 5 minutes. That'd work out great. We'll begin with our proponents. We have Amy Covey, a private citizen. Amy's here. Welcome, Amy.
For having me today. As she mentioned, my name is Amy Covey, and I am a sitting school board member in Lansing 469. I'm vice president of our board. I've been on there for this is my second year now. I fully support House Bill 2382, and some of the reasons why when I ran and as a school board member, I ran on transparency. We need to provide that to our constituents. This would include electronic communications, as mentioned, between staff and administrators, and I fully support those being subject to KORA. And this request also, what we've ran into is some problems on members of the administration not responding to those requests in a timely manner. So that's something that needs to be handled appropriately also. There is one issue on this that I would suggest possibly amending, and that would be currently under 45-221-14. It does mention in regards to KORA that the correspondence between a public agency and a private individual would not be subject to KORA. So that would be the only change that I would recommend to include that. And the reason why is sometimes we have parents who will email a board member or the board member as a whole, or possibly an employee. And they want those to be private because of either privacy matters with their student, or potentially maybe they've already went through their chain of command with their principal, their administrator, and they want to bring this to the board to investigate, but they will be, I'm afraid what will happen is they might be resistant to do that if they know that their emails may be taken public and subject to a core request and used in a manner that they didn't plan on when they originally emailed you. So that would be the one issue with that. You could add the language possibly to exempt those communications between a board member and a patron, parent, private citizen, or staff member. And that would apply to communications between a board member and other board members or district staff, and not to communications between a single board member and a patron or a district staff member. Because like I said, sometimes it's some of your employees that might be needing to contact you. I have seen one of the issues some people have with this House bill is publicizing the board members' email addresses. And I'm happy to say we have had ours on our website with no issues whatsoever. We have a great technology director if we have any issues as far as spamming or like that is a security threat with your email. That's not an issue. We have those listed, and again, I know some have said that you could list a link where email board member Amy Covey, and you would just fill out a form and it would go to them, but you're not specifically putting in their individual email, and there is lack of trust amongst constituents and especially employees on where exactly that is going to, in addition to myself. So that's why I think it's important for transparency, again, to just have that email listed. We have not had an issue with that. The public speak portion of the bill, I think, is very important. In Lansing last June, we were able to pass our own Parents' Bill of Rights. And one of those items, just like was listed in the legislatures from last year, was to guarantee that the public has the right to speak, just like I am today, to our board. And I think that's very important. And that's not mandated at every local school board meeting. And in ours, it is, because we listed that in the Parents' Bill of Rights. And I think that that should continue throughout all of the districts, because some have taken that away. You can set a limit of time. We say 2 minutes, and then we have a limit of 30 minutes, so it doesn't take over your entire meeting. And to me, we're here to serve those individuals. So to me, not guaranteeing that is not the way that we should act as board members. But I do agree with the portion on allowing board members to potentially address those who have addressed the school board. And the reason why is sometimes those members don't have all of the accurate information, or the constituents that choose to speak, or possibly we've already taken care of that prior to the meeting. We just had that last month where there's an issue of clubs. So we had a lot of people speaking out, and then we didn't have that opportunity to rebut that and provide that. And sometimes it's just an all-out lie, unfortunately, and that works on both ends. So we need to be able to address that in a professional and respectful manner, and I think board members would do that. And as far as in Lansing, I'm very proud of our students and our staff.